Alright, so I just want to do a quick little chat about the difference between an Intel and a Ryzen. I've been over this before, but since I still always get asked questions of what is better. So basically in the same price range area, you have the i5 9600 and the i5 9600K, and then you'll have the competitors, which would be the Ryzen 5 3600 and the Ryzen 5 3600X. So let's take a quick little gander at this. So let's try doing this fair. We'll do the 9600. And I'll teach you guys how to read this bad boy. So if we take a quick little look-see, you can see that this is the average benchmarks. This one is not overclockable, so you will just see it sitting at the average speeds. Basically, if you have a cooler temp, it stays this low. If you have a higher temp, it will automatically drop down. The Ryzen comes unlocked, so it's overclockable. I was hoping it was going to show game FPS, but it really doesn't. So out of these two options, I would definitely choose the Ryzen over it just because the Ryzen is overclockable. You are able to overclock to make it so you can actually play certain games at a much smoother pace. But if you are looking at the overclocked options, which would be the 9600K, which is probably the best CPU for the money when it comes to gaming. Um, as you can see, it pretty much crushes it in the FPS category in pretty much every game. Fortnite, not so different, but all the other ones, yes. The average, what people are overclocking to is 5, but you can go up to 5.15 by the looks of it, while the Ryzen only sits at a 4.4. And then the average gaming, 94 versus 88. But the value of this one is much better, but really for an extra $50, I don't really see a point, but let's make it a little bit more fair. So we'll go up to the 3600X. Take a little gander, 5.15, still 4.4 is the max. I'm guessing there's probably something to do with the voltage. Takes a little bit of time for people to actually figure it out because I'm guessing, just a guess, that Ryzen probably has it set up so you can't bring it up that high because it will automatically crash because they're trying to save their CPU rather than letting you have free range like Intel. And again, 6 cores by 6 threads. So that means that every core has its own thread. This one uses hyper-threading, which actually slows down gameplay, but it helps multitasking substantially. So most of the time Intel has dropped it. Like, we can look at this 94%, and it will jump up to 99, and it's an 8 by 8, but it costs a lot more money. So 99%, and then you'd think that the 9900 blah 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 would be substantially better, but it's really not. So 5.2, this one uses hyper-threading, so 8 cores by 16, meaning that it's slowing down gameplay because it's only using the, uh, basically splitting the cores into different threads, and you're never going to be using those, but it basically keeps it on to surplus. And then back down to this, 99, 99, 99, 100, 100, 100. It's really the increase isn't really worth the money. 5.2, 5.2. Yeah. So if you are an Intel fanboy, I'm not by any means. I have both processors. I love my Ryzen 5 3600. It is much smoother than my 1600 without having to do any overclocking whatsoever. But yeah, the point I was going to make is like if you are planning to do multitasking, that the 7 is much better for that price range. I really don't think it's worth it. It's not that much better. Like it actually has a decrease of FPS for Grand Theft Auto, which is weird. And what's PUBG? 118 versus 121, but that one goes back up. 133, yeah, so it's substantially better for Fortnite, but I don't think it's worth the money. So, yeah, like, it's a hard pick. I would say the best bang for the buck that you can possibly build right now without any major sales would probably be the Ryzen 5 3600 regular and the GTX 1660 Ti is a pretty decent card. If you can afford it, the 2060 surpasses it by a bit, but for the money, I don't know if it's actually worth it. Because they're both the same amount of VRAM, but the 2060 Super has 8, but 6 is pretty much all you need for most games. That's a tough call. I would say that my best bang for the buck PC that I have would be my Ryzen 5 1600 and the RX 570 because that thing was dirt cheap and it runs pretty much every game I throw at it and I get decent amount of FPS. I can even pull up to 144. But my next best bang for the buck PC without having to spend a ton of money would definitely be my Ryzen 5 3600 with my RTX 2060. I'm gonna do a little bit of differences. Why is my FPS so low? There's 12. Ah, weird. I noticed with Fortnite lobbies now, your FPS is so freaking low and then randomly jumps back up. Yeah. Yeah, there's the good old 700 while I'm staring at the sky. Yeah, so it's a hard call. I very much love my Intel, but the Ryzen 5 3600 has surpassed what my expectations were, considering it went up with no overclocking versus my overclock 1600 by about 4% without even needing to overclock, meaning the overclock should bring it up about 7 or 8%. And it gets the 240 FPS on Fortnite, and it stays above 60 FPS in every other game that I throw at it. Even most games on high settings, it gets 144, so I really can't complain. This game seems really glitchy now. I haven't played it in a very long time. I'm really digging Call of Duty. Ooh. See, yeah, so I don't really have anything else to say about it. Ryzen's perfectly fine. I don't really trust some of the reviewers because I know that Ryzen often hires them for sponsorships and pays them to say good things. Because even, here I got a couple seconds. Let's pull back up that internet page real quick. So if we take a quick little look-see at the highest possible Ryzen that they make, it doesn't even go up to 5 Hertz. And it's pretty much sitting at the exact same gaming style. And it's just so gosh darn expensive. I don't know. It's basically whatever the hell you prefer, but I would recommend looking at all your options, watching different videos. I don't really trust some of the verse videos. I just feel like they're on purposely making sure one does better than the other, like keeping certain things off screen. Wow, I haven't played this in forever. Ah, brutal.